evening. Welcome to WSBI, your resource for success podcast program, where you get to meet inspiring women-owned businesses from across the country. And now, for your host, Kimberly McLemore.
All right. Hello. Welcome to WSBI, your Resource for Success podcast program. I am your host, Kimberly McLemore, and welcome to another night of sharing. We have a phenomenal show for you this evening. I have a beautiful guest that I consider a great friend. With us, we have Dr. Sharon H. Porter. Dr. Sharon, she resides in the Washington, D.C. metropolitan area. She has been married for over 15 years to her husband, Larry. She's a proud member of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated. She is also the CEO and owner of Perfect Time SHP LLC, founder of the Grind Entrepreneur Network, host of Write the Book Now podcast, and the host of the I Am Dr. Sharon live in studio interview show. So without further ado, I would love to bring on and share some time with Dr. Sharon H. Porter. How are you doing this evening?
Hello, Kimberly. I am doing excellent. Hope you are.
Oh, I am, and excited. You know, we talked for a few minutes, and I mean, it's been like a year in the making to get this to happen.
Yes. So thank you so much. Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm just excited about you being here tonight and getting the opportunity to talk to my listeners and being able to tell your story, because you have a phenomenal story to tell and you have a plethora of things that you have accomplished in your life. And I can't wait for you to share that with my listeners. So before we get started with the big interview, so-called questions, let's go ahead and let's have some fun. Tell the people a little bit more about who you are.
Okay, absolutely. So I am a licensed professional educator for over 25 years. I currently work as a leadership development coach in a large school district here in the Washington, D.C. area. I'm an author, entrepreneur, podcaster, as you mentioned, and just really love being in this area. I'm originally from North Carolina. You can probably hear it. But I have been here for over 20 years in the Washington, D.C. area. And just really love what I do. I love my profession as an educator. I'm a former principal, former assistant principal, classroom teacher, and I love my grind as well. And so that's really me in a nutshell.
Yeah, like I said, I mean, going through and reviewing everything that you've accomplished, and I noticed that you are truly a true educator. You love being a part of education. You're out there every day, as you call it, the grind, doing your thing, helping others to be very successful in their fields of education. So talk to the listeners a little bit about the programs that you have been involved in the community as far as education.
Absolutely. And so in my current role, I am, like I said, a leadership development coach. And what that is I coach our novice school administrators, first and second year assistant principals, and first and second year principals. I was a principal for 9 years at the elementary, middle, and charter school level. And so it's been a privilege and an honor to now serve as a coach for our first and second year. We have to make sure that our leadership in schools are of quality. We can't have great teachers if we don't have great leaders. And so I've been charged with helping build that principal pipeline. So I'm really excited about that.
Yeah, I agree. And I love how you're a part of the community. And you're right. We live in a community, and it seems like education is always a fight, and it shouldn't be that way. And you're right. If the educators aren't up to par, then what should we expect from our children, right? Yeah, so, exactly. Being in leadership is very important. And I guess I see how you are a part of the community doing these things. And then, you were also involved with so many other things. But I want you to talk a little bit about your Delta Sigma Theta sorority. You're a part of that. I was just with you here recently, a couple weeks ago, in your studio, having an interview, which was phenomenal. And you were talking about this red sea that was coming.
Yes, absolutely. So I am a member. Yes, thank you. So I am a member of Delta Sigma Theta sorority. I was initiated in the Gamma Phi chapter, which is on the campus of Winston-Salem State University in Winston-Salem, North Carolina in 1990. April 10th, 1990 to be exact. And so it has been a wonderful journey. And truly it is about service. And I tell everyone that, you know, what we do as a sisterhood, as a service, you don't have to be a part of a sorority to do that, but it just makes things so much better. And so I always be sure to say that, because I don't ever want people to think that you have to be, you know, part of a sorority, but that's what I chose to do. And I love it. And I have loved every minute of it. So yes, the adult is dear to my heart.
Well, I had to bring that up because, I mean, you were so excited about getting that all prepared and ready to go. And you had some other amazing events that weekend. So I just really needed to throw that in there for a minute. But also, let's talk a little bit. You're welcome. So let's just talk a little bit, though, about the challenges of being in business. You know, my show is really all about sharing resources and helping others succeed and grow and understanding who we are as individuals, and that, you know, when they see us, they see nothing but a shell. They don't realize what we have all been through to get to the platform that we're at today. So just talk a little bit about your challenges that you've had going into the businesses that you've been into, and what advice would you give?
You know, the first thing would be that you just cannot give up. And we know, because we're still in the grind. You know, you reach a certain level of achievement, but you're still not where you want to be, but you can't give up. So that's really my first thing, you know, and a lot of times when entrepreneurs start out, you're not going to see a profit in a couple of years. And that is, you know, and people don't understand that. And like my very first year that I started in business, of course, I made money, but I didn't make a profit, because everything you're getting, you're putting that right back into the business to build the business. And that's just how it goes for a few years. And so people can easily get discouraged when, you know, you're doing this. And, you know, and I know that there's a difference between 100% entrepreneurship and those of us who have a full-time job. And I'm not saying that either one is more difficult than the other, but it's just a different way that you have to go about doing things. When you are a full-time entrepreneur, you are hustling and grinding to make sure, because that's what's paying the mortgage. That's what's keeping the lights on. So you don't have anything to fall back on. And so I get that. I've never been a 100% entrepreneur. And so I've always held a full-time position, but the hustle is different, because I don't want to get lackadaisical because I have that biweekly salary coming in. It's very easily to calm down and to say, you know, I really don't need to do this. But if it's your passion, you've got to keep it going. You've got to keep going, because look at where we are now. We are in a shutdown, a government shutdown. I don't work for the federal government, but when I tell you that if this thing continues, it's going to be a ripple effect.
That's right.
So
absolutely.
You've got to depend not only on just one source of income. We always say you need multiple streams of income. And so that's what I'm working hard to do. And now, not only trying to get these multiple streams of income, but trying to make sure that I'm saving and investing how I need to be doing. Because like I said, right now, if this is not a lesson for everyone, not just federal workers, everyone, we need to get our ducks in a row. And so that's really what it's all about. And, you know, my thoughts before was just to have all these streams of income, but it doesn't make sense if you're having these streams of income, but you're still sending it out the door. So there has to be a saving component and an investment component. And so that's, for me, going back to your first question, is don't give up. Even through the trials and the tribulations, you've got to keep grinding. That's my motto. Keep grinding through it all. So you just got to keep going. Work.
That's right. Absolutely. I mean, everything that you're talking about is hitting on the tip, talking about hit the nail on the head there. Oh my gosh. You know, and it's funny because I just had this conversation about a week ago with another young lady that was talking about wanting to write a book. You know, so many little things that she was bringing up and, you know, doing all these businesses. But the first thing that came out of her mouth, she has a great business, was like, well, I'm just going to quit this and I'm going to write a book. I'm like, wait a minute.
Right.
We don't walk from money. Okay. You
That's
cannot
right, exactly.
survive right off the front, just writing a book and thinking you're going to be completely successful 100%, and you're right. We have to have multiple streams of income. And I think a lot of people don't get that when they're going into the field of business, because if we all know we have a great idea, right? But we all think that jumping right out the gate that things are going to just work perfectly and we're all going to be happy and go lucky. That's not the world we live in today. And like you said, we see the examples of this every day, that people aren't prepared, and not by so much their fault. It's just that we get in that comfort zone and we think that things are going to be there forever. But, history proves itself. And with all the statistics, people are literally changing jobs every 18 months or less at this point, with the way things are going on in the world. So, I absolutely believe in being that entrepreneur, and all day, but also I'm on the grind. I'm in the corporate arena, just like everybody else is. That needs to be, because you have to prepare yourself for everything. And I am, being single as well, you never know what's going to happen. And I still have responsibilities just like anybody else does. Right. So I love what you're talking about, because there's nothing but truth to that. Being in the situation we are, you have to always be prepared. And even if you decide that you never want to be an entrepreneur, you have to be prepared for things like this.
Exactly. Absolutely.
Yeah. So with all of this going on, what other suggestions though would you provide for those who are currently in business? The effects are definitely being there, they're affecting them. It's a part of what they're going through, because we know, even though with all these people not working, that means that these businesses are not getting the business that they're used to getting. What other suggestions would you provide for those who are in that process of going through that right now?
Absolutely. And so, first of all, you start with your business plan. We all know that. But when you have that business plan, you can't just do it that one time and just leave it on the shelf. You have to, what I call, act, assess, and adjust. So you do what it needs to be done. You assess what's happening, and then you make adjustments as necessary. That's very important. That's why those quarterly assessments in your business are critical. That's the time for you to look at your numbers, look to see what's going well, what's not going well. That's what's wrong with so many of our businesses now, that we continue doing things that is not proven to be beneficial for our business. But if you don't stop and analyze that, you will never know it. And so you have to let the data inform what you're doing and not just going through it blindly. So I would definitely say, do your quarterly assessments, adjust your business plan as necessary so that you can keep up with the times. When things change, you got to change with it if you want to make the money.
Exactly. And you hit it again. I mean, I think the biggest argument with most people is not wanting to take the time to do a business plan. Right. But this proves exactly what we're talking about when you don't, because when you have no idea what that next step is going to be, this is where you end up at. You're suffering like everybody else. Like I said, you may be in business, but at the end of the day, it means nothing if you have no business coming to you. You have no income coming to you, right? So having that business plan is something that I harp on all the time. And it's like I tell people, it is your Bible for your business, right? Yes,
exactly.
You have to hold on to that. It's an evolving document. It's not something we do one time, and so all these little things that we take for granted because, you get that little bit of success and then you automatically think that, oh, I don't need this anymore. Let me just keep moving on. And the world's going to be perfect. That it's proven every day that it's not the way, but not to say that there are many people who have become very successful and have never done a business plan. They just have a great idea, had the right connections, knew who to talk to, and had an armor of people around them to help them become successful. Right. Yeah. So, we're not saying that you can't survive with that one, but it's always better to have that in your background, in your back pocket, so to speak, so that you can see what's going to be down the line for you in the near future, because nobody would have ever anticipated that the government would be shut down for more than 30 days. Exactly. Nobody, so, and even if we were never shut down, I think a lot of people don't understand the society that we live in. Everything is based off of economics, right? You cannot survive. It doesn't matter who we have in office. It doesn't matter what's going on the outside world. In your world, you need to have a true understanding of what economics means and how that's really how the world runs. Yeah. Right.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. So just a few more questions. I guess, what really gave you so much passion into being into education? What really inspired you to go into that field?
That's so simple. My fourth grade teacher, without a doubt, Mrs. Mullen in North Carolina, Cash Elementary School. She was a phenomenal teacher, and I just absolutely adored her. And I remember the day that I actually said I was going to be a fourth grade teacher. And so, and that just stuck with me. We were reading The Tales of a Fourth Grade Nothing from Judy Blume. And she was sitting there reading, and I said, I'm going to be a fourth grade teacher. And so, and I kept that, and then when I went to college, that's exactly, I said, okay, I'm an education major. I got out, I started teaching fourth grade. And so I lived that dream because of that teacher. And you have to understand, though, the context in a small town in North Carolina, in a very, how can I say this? Not like this area, the Washington, D.C. area, where there is such an abundance of people who look like us. That is not that way all the time. And so this was a Caucasian teacher who took, me under her wings, basically. She had a daughter who was my age as well. We were very good friends. And it was at a time when you didn't always feel comfortable in that situation. But I tell you, it just made me feel differently. And so, and that's really what inspired me to become a teacher, and that moment. And I just kept it. And so, of course, after teaching, I then desired to be an administrator. And so that's what I did.
Okay. Yeah, because that's, and normally as kids, we all have that little, butterfly thing. Oh, I'm going to be this when I grow up. And normally we end up doing something else. We just don't always hold on to that passion. But you're right. But that passion was because you've seen somebody else that you could be like and even be better. Yes. And that's the better part about that portion of your story, is that, we always have somebody that's in front of us and are a part of our lives, and we don't know how they're going to hit us in a way where it could change your life forever, right? And that moment changed you, and here you are now, giving everybody that same butterfly effect. That feeling, that's awesome. I'm saying that I'm in the right area. This is where I need to be, and this is what I'm doing. What I need to be doing. You're doing. God's work, and you're doing the work of what these children need, and making sure that these teachers are on the level that they need to be at. And like I said, that's phenomenal.
Thank you.
You're welcome. We need more people like you. Okay.
But you know what, Kimberly, what was so ironic about that, when I relocated back to North Carolina for about 2.5 years in 2011, I went back to that town, that small town where I was, and became the first African-American female principal in that city. And so I know, so it was just like, I don't know, it was just so amazing, the feeling of that. And so, and that was back in 2011, the first and only so far, and it's 2019, but hopefully that will change soon.
Wow. Yeah. Still got a long way to go, right?
Right. Absolutely.
Still have a long way to go, but we definitely need to keep pushing the educators to do it, because we all know we feel better when we see people who look like us, that can, understand who we are and know that we're not alone. And because I'm originally from Davenport, Iowa, so I understand.
Oh, wow.
I've always have been around, and the majority, I was always the only one. So being able to understand how that feels and know what it means to want to be successful in your own way, and not have been able to see those same faces that look like me every day. And I was even in private school. So that was I think there was 5 of us in the whole high school. Wow. So that gave me a certain platform and a certain way of understanding of how the world runs and how life is and the challenges that come with it. But it did not stop me from wanting to be successful. And a big part of it, obviously, is that my family is pushed us to consistently. There was no excuses. Didn't matter where you came from or who you were surrounded by. The excuses were never, something we could say, even to this day. My dad's like, I don't want to hear it. So
exactly.
And that's the way things really should be. It doesn't really matter where you come from, because you never know where you're going to be and moving forward in your life. So I have some more things I want to talk about. I'm going to bring this other piece I want to bring up, because I want you to talk about your book here.
Okay.
We wanted to get a chance to talk to you on the other show that I have. And I was like, you know what? I wanted to talk about this book, because it sounds like we're going to do a little bit of it tonight. So tell us a little bit about this book.
Okay, yes, women who lead. First of
Mhm.
all, leadership is my passion. And so most of my books have a leadership theme. And so Women Who Lead really was a vision of mine. It's actually the first in a series. The first one featured 21 amazing women who, in their careers, in their industries, in their lives, are leaders. And you
Wow.
have to understand that leadership is action, it's influence. So it's not about a title, it's about the action. And so these 21 women really demonstrate leadership in whatever capacity that they work or live. Because one, I featured as a mom of 5, who's a full-time worker, who's getting her doctorate, has successful 5 beautiful children doing amazing things. One is one of the star players for University of Maryland. And
Wow.
so, yes, and so this book, and I have it here, Women Who Lead, just a wonderful collection of
Mhm.
stories of leadership. I have one of she's not now, but she was the athletic director for Winston-Salem State University. And that is a position that you don't find a lot of females in that position. And so she tells her story. Maria Howell, not sure if you know the name, but she was the soloist in The Color Purple. She's in the book, and she tells about her journey in basically in the arts, in movies. She's been in several things now, but it's still a everlasting journey. And so she's been in so many wonderful things. She's a musician, soloist, actress. And it's hard work, and people don't understand that. But just so many. We have a medical doctor who said she tried to be a surgeon, and it was difficult, and she changed to a general family practitioner. But she tells her story. She kept going because she wanted that medical degree. And so just so many different stories of leadership from all these 21 women. And so this, as I said, the first of a series where these are just many different industries. And then the following will be just specific industries. And so the next one that's coming out is Women Who Lead in Education, of course. That one's
That's phenomenal, but I love the book, and I love the title of it, Women Who Lead. And I like the way that you're telling the story about how these women just aren't people who have titles. They are truly women who know how to lead, and they're not afraid to really tell the truth. What it takes to get there, and how hard it could be. And it's okay if you don't go with the first opportunity or thought process you may have, but as long as you're continuing to move forward. And it's so funny that we're having this conversation right now about leadership because of and titles. I was just talking to somebody earlier today about that. So many people think that title means that have an entitlement to treat people a certain way and be told to be, well, you're going to call me this. Well, it means nothing if you have no respect or don't understand your purpose, right? Exactly. So having these types of books and talking to these type of women, and there's so many of us women out here who are phenomenal leaders, and we can never get to all of them. But as long as everybody's out here doing their portion and really truly showing people what it means to be a true leader, whether you're a woman or whether you're a man, and that it's not about having a title. But, you should respect those who do have earned those titles, as you, Dr. Sharon, have earned your title. That's, should absolutely be respected. But I think a lot of people don't realize that it's not just always, like you said, about the title.
It's not. Absolutely. And I always say for me, my show is called I Am Dr. Sharon, and that's not for the title, but it's about the journey, because there's a story that goes along with that as well. And so
that's going to be another show. That's going to be another show. That'll be another show. We're going to talk about that one.
Absolutely.
Because I know you have plenty of stories to tell, because you see your background is just fun. I could sit here and read. I have your bio right in front of me, and I'm sitting there like, okay, how am I going to get through all of this tonight? But we're gonna make it work. We're gonna make it happen here.
Absolutely.
But I definitely just wanted to have an opportunity to talk about the book, because we've been wanting to talk about the book for a while. So I wanted to bring that up. But before we get to a last couple of questions, talk to me a little bit and to our listeners about what it means to share your resources and how you inspire other entrepreneurs.
Oh my God, that is a great question, because one of the things that I started the Grind Entrepreneur Network because I felt there was not a lot of collaboration and sharing. It was a lot of, I have mine, I'm not going to share with you how to do. And so that was one of the reasons that I created the Grind Entrepreneur Network. So that is very dear to me. I just believe that we're better together. And I just believe that, no matter what we're doing, first of all, there's nothing new under the sun. And so there are going to be people doing what you're doing, right? And the way to get the best thing out of it is let's get together and let's collaborate. Let's make this thing better. And you do that by sharing resources. If I know something that's going to make things better and you're doing it, why don't I share that with you to say, hey, try this out. This may work a little better for you. And then if we all do that, because I tell you, we have a good game of talking, but when it comes down to it, it's not there.
Hallelujah.
We say it, and I'm serious. We say it, but when it comes down to the real nitty gritty, it's not there. And
That's
if
right.
we only get together, a powerful force we will be. And so I just believe that it's not about competition. It's about collaboration. And I just believe that we've got to do better with sharing our resources. Like everyone said, it's enough people out here. It's enough people who need coaching. It's enough people who need interviewing. So it just doesn't matter. You know what I mean? If you're doing what I'm doing, let's collaborate and do something together. And it's only going to help each other. So I'm all about sharing resources. Absolutely. It's critical.
You're right. Yep, you are absolutely right. It's beyond critical, and I don't understand it too when people feel like that they're doing something new. And I always tell people, no, what you're doing is, like you said, there's many of us out here doing the same thing, but we all think we can do things better. But it's lonely. It's very lonely when you don't understand how to collaborate with other people and realize that, like you said, you are better as a group than you are by yourself, and you can grow at a much faster rate and realize that, you know what? If I'd have been doing this for along the line, when I started, I could have been way over here and still, and then bringing other people along the way, and a big part of it, I think, is fear, because I can even say, coming into this area 15 years ago, and then I finally decided a few years ago, I wanted to revamp the businesses I have when I was in Iowa. It's starting over, and I had to come out of my comfort zone and, get out here and meet people, start to network, realize that I could not do this on my own. It's not the small community I was used to being in. And, the faces are different. Everything is different, so you learn that, you're being alone is, like I said, that it's not the best thing to do. So you are absolutely right. And I just love all your answers and all the things we talked about tonight, because you're hitting it right there. And people need to realize that this is what it takes to be a true entrepreneur and become a successful one. Absolutely. So we are definitely getting close to the end of the show. So what I would love for you to do is tell everybody exactly how they can find you, where they can buy books and where they can reach out to you and all that good stuff.
Wonderful. So I am on all social media platforms at I am Dr. Sharon, and that's Dr. Sharon. My website is SharonHporter.com, and that will lead to all of my websites, all of everything. So SharonHporter.com, and then I am Dr. Sharon on social media.
All right. Well, again, I thank you so much for coming on and hanging out with me tonight. I finally got this accomplished, so I'm excited.
Thank you, Kimberly. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. It's my pleasure. And again, for everyone else, like Dr. Sharon said, you can reach her at Dr. Sharon H. Porter on her website, and she's on all the social media platforms. And again, thank you for coming on this evening. You have a wonderful evening.
You too. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. So for everyone else, this has been a phenomenal show. I'm just been excited about having Dr. Sharon on with me this evening. Like I said, we've been planning this for a while, and it finally happened. But I also want to go ahead and talk a little bit more about what is going on with WSBI. And if you would like to be a guest, of course, if you would like to be a guest with me, basically all you have to do for 2019 to be a guest is send me a very short bio a logo, and a professional pic. And of course, I will need to have that sent to me to my Gmail address, which I'm going to pop up here in a second. And that Gmail is kmm123mclemore@gmail.com. Send me your information if you're interested in being a guest here in 2019 for the show. We would love to have you on board so you can come and tell your story and share your experiences right here on my show, on my platform. And again, we have this show is on every Thursday evening. So I'm going to pop up here real quick that next week we have another phenomenal guest coming on. And her name is Jamie Boyle. So be looking out for her and looking out for that information that will be coming I'll be coming on to the platform and until the show. So we're here every Thursday evening at 7 p.m. I hope you all enjoyed this evening's show. But until next time, you have a wonderful evening. Good night.
Good night, everyone. We will be back next Thursday evening at 7 p.m. Follow us on Spreaker, www.spreaker.com/user/WSBI. View our new WSBI website anytime at www.wsbillc.com and on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, and Instagram.